Hello YouTube, Dylan Olsen Art here with a new tutorial. In this video, I am going to be showing you all how to draw Flynn Ryder, or Eugene, from the Disney movie Tangled. So get a piece of paper, get a good pencil, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and let's begin. So we want to start off with a basic and simple circle shape. You can trace the bottom of a mug or maybe a bowl or anything that's round at the bottom. And like I always say in my drawing videos, draw loose and light shapes at first until we get our lines the way we want them. And then we're going to draw his jawline. He's going to be like looking this way. So I'll draw that line right there. Here's the other side of it. Here's his neck. And then we need to put our center line so that we know where the middle of his face is going to go. A line here to know where the side of his face will be. And then a line across for where his eyes will fall. A line for the nose and the mouth. And then we need to... So we got our basic details that indicate all his shapes. Now we need to draw his eyes. His eyes are, they're not going to be like wide open. This one's almost going to be a bit of a triangle shape. So we have that. Now right here we're going to give him another eye, and it's going to be a little smaller, and it's going to be more of a squarish shape than a triangle because on one line on the side we're going to give him a nose. So we have those eyes in. And then maybe put a line at the top. That's to indicate an eyelid. And we'll do the same thing with this side, except it'll be more of an L shape. A sideways, upside down L. A rotated L shape. Okay, then we need to draw his nose before we get to the other details in his eyes. So you're basically going to be this simple nose shape. Then this will be the nostril right here. Okay, so we got that. Now we need to put in the pupils of his eyes, or the irises. So we'll put these simple circles in. Then we're going to put another circle inside. That's the pupil. And remember, we're going to have them looking this way. Then you can put a little tiny circle at the top for the highlights. And then color those in black. So we got all his basic shapes in. Well, actually, we need to put in his eyebrows next, before we get to any other details. It's basically these This one's going to be more of a triangle shape. So here's one of them, and then here's the other one. These are the eyebrows. Then maybe we should, before we get to anything else, we should probably define some lines. So I'm gonna get that in right there. So we have that. Now we're gonna throw in his mouth. He is gonna be smiling. So we'll draw this simple smile shape with that little point. Then you can put a dimple there if you'd like, and put his lower lip right here. And now, before we get to the rest of his face, we need to draw he's got a little beard on. So here's one side of it. Here's the other side of the beard. It's basically these zigzag lines. If you need to pause the video to get them right, you can. And we'll close it off. And then we need to also draw a chin line here, more like his lower cheek. Then define this side of his body. Now we need to get in his hair. So we'll draw this sort of triangular shape. That will be going over his ear. We need to draw a couple different shapes first before we get the hair completely. Put a line right here to close off that triangle. Put a curve up here. Put a triangle line here, followed by this curve here. Here's this curve here. And then we can put a little moon kind of shape here. Okay, before we finish that off, let's close this curve off and draw his ear right here. Now we need to define his neck. And then let's also draw this big square right here. This will be his collar. I'm not drawing his whole body. If you want to in your own way, that's fine. So I'm just going to put a big square right here. Maybe put another square here. One on this side here. It's more rectangular. Here comes another square for the other side of his collar. So that's his shirt collar. Now we need to finish off this little hairlock right here. So now we have to get another side of his hair right here. Let's get the back side here. And now we need basically like this curve here with these 2 points and a curve right here. That's one side of the hair. Now we need to finish off this side. So we'll draw another curve here, be more like another triangle or a pizza wedge that's folded over, and then draw 2 lines inside it that go like this. Then we need to draw another triangle with a small line here, with a straight line here, and another curve right here. And then we draw another kind of moon shape. Well, actually it's another pizza wedge. Draw these 2 folds here. It's almost like a leaf shape. And then we're nearly done with the hair. You have to draw these lines here. Close off his head there. Then bring this line down from top. And then right here, you'll close off with a little curve. Actually, a fairly big curve. With a point, another fold inside, and a curve that points this way, just like that. And then we can put one little detail in his neck right here. And then we can go ahead and fairly lightly put some shadows in his beard And some in his hair too. Maybe put a line right here in his hair. Put more shadows here. Also put a fold right here in his shirt. More shadow here. And remember to use the side of your pencil when you're when you're shading. Otherwise, you waste energy and time, which is no fun. Then put some shadow here. More shadows. Put a line here. And then maybe you can shade in his eyebrows if you'd like. Put another line on top of his eyebrow to indicate like a forehead fold. Stick this line out just a little bit. Maybe if you want, you can put some shadows on his face. Maybe put some below on top of his beard. And maybe put one more shadow right here in his flock. And there you go. That is Flynn Ryder, or Eugene, from the movie Tangled. Hope you all had fun. I'll see you next time.